Welcome to the Whiskey Vault. I'm Daniel Whittington, Chancellor of Wizard Academy and Whiskey Marketing School. And today we're doing a hidden dram, something that was a gift and that you will probably not be able to find easily. This was the Solist Maderia cask. And shoot, I was pretty sure this was a gift from Brian, or was it Austin? But his name is not written on the side of it. Anyway, it was given. It was not from the brand. But it's Kavalan. And I'm a big fan of Kavalan within a certain category. There's something that Kavalan does that I really love, which is it's a Taiwanese distillery. And they also deal with a really hot climate. It happens really quickly. Wood extraction happens really quickly, just like it does in Texas. And so they're part of this new vanguard of distillers that are having to come to terms with their environment in a way that Scotland doesn't have to, or Ireland didn't have to. And they're making really beautiful whiskey. If you really like wine cask forward single malt, then Kavalan is your home turf, right? Some of their sherry cask stuff I have really loved. This is a Madeira cask. Now, I shot a video a little bit ago, and it was about, it had Madeira, and you know how much I love Madeira. This is a distillery that was founded with the help of the past Dr. Jim Swan, who was a really influential whiskey consultant and just an all-around great whiskey human being. And I'm going to talk about him in a second. So one thing that Kavalan will do to you is on a regular basis, I will smell a Kavalan that smells more like what it was aged in than like a whiskey, or finished in, or aged in. So like, if you know your Madeira, and if you've started to try ports or drink sherries just to broaden your palate, sometimes there are whiskeys that you'll pick up and you'll go, this is sherry that's had some whiskey to give it a little more oomph. But it tastes more like sherry than it does whiskey. And this is one of those right now, even as I pick it up, it smells more like Madeira. And I've got a couple of bottles of Madeira over here. It smells more like Madeira than it does like a single malt. Now, if you let it sit, the proof is higher. It's a little punchy. There's this sort of earthy, weird combination of like kind of vibrant, new-makey grain, like, light touch malt with this heavy-handed Madeira rounding note. Okay. Now Madeira, we'll try it first. There's dark fruit, almost roasted raisins. Like there's a char note to it. There's a density, it's syrupy in the nose. I'll try the palate. Chocolate. And then it sort of vanishes pretty quickly. It's very good. I like it anyway. It's the kind of thing that I like. I wish it went on longer. What I often experience with these is, in this one is happening, you get this first blush of this flavor that's really beautiful and really rich, and it looks like it's going to keep going, and then about halfway through the palate, it just goes, and I'm out. And it sort of goes away. And you're like, nah, just a little, you were so close. But it's great. Like every flavor you do experience is delicious, but then it just doesn't give you the long finish you look for in a really big, oily single malt. There is a nice, almost roasted black pepper note in the back half of the palate, but then it sort of dissipates, and there's no lingering, and it doesn't coat. I like it, but I wish it was more dense, and I wish the finish lasted longer. It's 57%. You would think that would be enough. Hang on. I'm going to add a little water and talk about Jim Swan. And I'm going to talk about Dramface, which is a website that I really love and that I'm a member of. And I was looking up some research on this whiskey, and I found a review from, is it Brody Balfour or Brody Balfour? On the Solist Madeira cask. And it was so thoughtful, like so many writers for Dramface are so thoughtful and so intricate and informative without being weird or boring and well written. And a lot of what I'm going to tell you right now is informed from me reading Brody's brilliantly written article. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Brody, on Dramface. And he gave words to something that has been floating in the back of my head, but I have never actually put together as a real original thought. It's just, if I look backwards after I read his article, I was like, yes, that's that thread that I was picking up on. I just never verbalized it. I never put it together. He put it together. I agree with him completely, but this is not my thought. This is Brody Balfour's thought that I completely agree with. Fair? Okay. So he said, so what I do know, just generically from being in the whiskey industry, one of the things Dr. Jim Swan did, and one of the techniques he sort of was the real carrier of, was the STR casks, shave, toast, rechar, which means you take a barrel that's been used, you open it up, you shave a layer out, you retoast it, and you rechar it, you put it back together, and then you refill it. It's a way to sort of refurbish used or tired casks and make more use of casks. He had a doctoral thesis on wood extraction additive, what happens when you age whiskey in wood. And that came out in 1988, and it was transformative for the whiskey industry in Scotland and elsewhere on like the impact of what's coming out of wood aging. And he came up with the shave, toast, rechar, and then he started consulting. And his hand, I don't know if you remember, I did a video where I talked about the heavy hand of a producer, and I talked about how Daniel Lanois, as a music producer, has a very heavy production hand. You can tell a Daniel Lanois album very quickly. Oh, Daniel Lanois was involved in this. I never picked up on this, but I was reading Brody Balfour, and he was talking about how there's all these distilleries that Jim Swan was involved in consulting with, and they have this common thread of these SDRs and of production of this really narrow cut. Because when you have to release a younger whiskey, you don't get the luxury of a wider cut, because wider cut adds flavor profiles that take time to balance out. And we've talked about this on the channel. And so when you know you're gonna have to release something at 4, 3, 4, 5, this is what happens in Texas a lot, is you're better off cutting a little bit more narrow and losing some of those low esters that you love and congeners, but you're also gonna not have these things that are like too young, too soon, that's funky, this is too young. And so there's a handful of distilleries. Now the distilleries that he's worked with, some of them are Amrit, another Indian distillery, or an Indian distillery, Taiwan, Kavalan, Cotswolds, Coloman, Lindors, Milk and Honey, Nicnean, Penderyn, Virginia, Macaloni in Canada. And he's naming all these, and I'm going, son of, on at least 5 or 6 of these, like, there is a common thread, and it is that really delicate new make that's a narrower than typical cut in order to, and then that STR impact in order to release something that can be a little younger but not feel wrong, off, or immature. Kavalan's got it, and a heavy use of wine cask finishing. Those are very much trademarks of Swan. Never put that together, but I really loved that insight, and it's the kind of thing that you'll find at Dramface. And I'm finding it here. That new make, or I should say the new make, the spirit itself prior to aging is this like really delicate center, light touch, not a lot of big heavy body. All of the action in this is coming from the Madeira. All the drama is Madeira drama. So and then you want it to go longer than it does. The water didn't really change much. It just made it a little more Madeira, a little more spicy. And it softened the palate into more creamy. I like it. I wish it would go on for longer. And I wish the malt had a heavier hand, but I like it. I think I probably like it more than Brody did. I think he gave it a 6 out of 10. I think I'd probably give this 6-7, depending on the mood I was in and whether I wanted a really heavy Madeira cask. But this is still very interesting, and I hope that you enjoyed that one, and I'm really glad you're here. Cheers to you. For a really perfect, narrow, center-cut, shaved, toasted, recharred YouTube episode, like and subscribe. Can you shave, toast, and retar a video? I don't think that's the thing.